Are you one of those cardio bunnies that jump around?
I am a cardio bunny.
I thought you were going to say Planet Fitness.
I have never worked out at Planet Fitness. You can go in the gym, you can do the movements. If you have the mindset and get the muscle mind connection and go in there with with an agenda to work out, push yourself, you're going to get better.
You guys live in like the 18th century.
Hey, I'm actually getting my cardio in, all right? One thing that I take a lot of pride on is like always like keeping my bearing, staying stoic. No matter if I'm getting slayed or not, I look like I'm fine.
You said a similar back injury to me.
Yeah.
I had my L4, L5. You had a
L4, L5.
broken back, brothers.
I was like, let's go. Like, I'm gonna knock this thing out like 10 times. And I drop it, and I caught it, and my back popped, and I lost feeling my legs, and I just hit the ground. That I thought that I broke my back. Now, this was the scariest moment. This is when I realized it was serious. I could not get off the ground.
I was working an office job, and I almost lost my job at that time because I would not stay at my desk. I told my boss, like, I need to walk around. Like sitting is the worst.
Yeah. You do not need supplements. Nobody needs supplements. You can use whole foods and get your proper nutrition.
Yes, the people behind the counters, they're like, you gotta try this. You gotta try, like selling you drugs, basically.
Yeah.
Is there a secondary thing you'd recommend?
Creatine.
Thank you. I was like, Chris better say creatine because he knows I talk about creatine all the time. I recommend creatine to everybody.
Yeah, creatine is great. It's a building block, I think, to any lifting career. I don't recommend drinking your calories. That's just what I say no to.
He says that I drink about a half gallon of milk like almost every day.
Some 5-finger death punch or something. I was like, yeah. I was like getting all pumped up. I punched my steering wheel and locked the horn up. And my horn was just going,
Are you serious?
It locked my horn in.
You're like that meme online that has the picture of the person driving, and their pre-workout kicks in and they're driving. They're like, yeah, let's go.
We would shotgun Red Bulls and before we would go to the gym and stuff like that, just
Red
one
Bull
of those
gives you
minds.
wings.
We actually called our protein shakes beer back in the day. So we'd go to the gym, we would go back, we'd slam like a 12-pack, and that was my protein shake.
You nerds. You were doing that, and I was in college probably drinking, getting wasted.
Yeah. And I don't get to say anything. I'm like, let them have that phase.
Now, the women wearing the spandex gym shorts, I'm not gonna argue. That's
all for it.
That's support that brand.
I started figuring out that I did not like beta alanine.
What steroids you take?
I've done them all. I mean, the
Did
legs.
I hear that right? Chris trains legs. Chris trains legs. What?
I will always say the squat is the best lift ever. Yep, and your body's a machine. It's going to adapt to any program you put it through. So I used to look at the Smith machine and think, I will never touch that. So for me going to the gym, I first started off, if I see somebody lifting more weight than me, I was like I'm a pussy.
It's all about staying in your lane. I say that a lot. Stay in your lane. Everybody's lane is different.
Anything over 15,000 helps increase testosterone. Mm-hmm. So I said, I'm gonna do 20,000. My go-to steak and potatoes. I mean, I love it.
The liver likes fructose.
Okay.
And if you give the liver a little bit of fructose before a meal, it'll digest better. You're wasting your money if you're taking these products and they're not dosed properly.
During the day, if I don't have enough sodium before my workout, I feel sluggish. I feel wore down a lot more and stuff like that. And if I up my salt during the day, I feel way better.
Yeah. If you don't take enough sodium, you're going to run to headaches. You're going to feel tired. Like a lot of Americans do, I think, probably fall under that. And also another thing too is drinking too much water.
They buy a huge bag of mass gainer. I'm just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Especially for a high school kid at the time. For me, I was driving to GNC and like, I have to get CLA, I have to get amino, I have to get all this stuff. Think about our children and how much of some kids' diet is mainly fast food, processed food. They're not eating whole ingredients.
Let's just take all the protein, Chris.
All of the protein. If you take all of the protein, you will get stronger. And these bats that they're making them in aren't always cleaned out correctly. So supplements are not regulated. Your biceps should not be on fire doing lat pull downs.
Exactly.
First off, incline dumbbell press is shown to have the most activation when it comes to chest, pretty much in general. Start your workout with a I would recommend a heavy compound movement. You're doing a preacher bicep curl. Okay, and you got 50 pounds on there, and you're doing your reps. Once you can't get it halfway, start doing half reps.
Yes, there's a recent study that
I don't think just fitness has to be lifting weights. I think you can run, you can walk, you can hike, you can do anything you want. But I think a body in motion needs to stay in motion.
What is happening, guys? Today, welcome to another episode of One Warrior. I have today fitness guru.
I don't know if I call myself that.
I have today with me Chris Anthony Ellis today. Now, is there a reason you always say your middle name with your last? Because I noticed your Facebook is like that as well.
So that started off as like when Facebook first came out. I mean, I was young. Everybody else has put their full name in. So I just went with the flow of everybody else is doing, put my full name in. As people changed, I decided to keep mine the same. I was like, you know what, makes me a little different.
I'm older than you though. Like, I don't know why that wasn't a thing when
maybe it was just maybe
it skipped the era there. I don't know. But I have Chris on today because he's the owner of a supplement company.
Yes, sir.
Plug your supplement company here.
Yeah, so I'm the owner of Vet Labz, military grade supplements right here. You can find us at vetlabz.com. That's with a Z. I'm sure Shawn will tag it in the link or
all links will be down below.
Yep.
So you said military. Why military, sir?
I'm a Marine Corps veteran.
Yes, so, you are. Semper Fi.
Semper fucking Fi. I got to add that in there. So yeah, I wanted to create a brand that was geared towards veterans and military, but also with the athletes involved in it too.
And like, how did you do that? Like, what's the difference between your supplement and somebody like Walmart supplement?
Mine doesn't have fillers. It's not full of a bunch of junk and wasted material. I test all my supplements before I put them out in the market. Make sure that I'm not going to mess anybody up. Not going to be fill a bunch of different crap and on all of that. Mm-hmm. Make sure it's actually a working product.
Right. And that's what I'm always talking about too. You know, I talk about a lot mixing your own supplements a lot of times. And when I looked at Chris's label, he gave me his label like the first weeks we talked. He was like, "Here's this label, Shawn. What do you think of these supplements ingredients?" And it's pretty good. It's pretty good dosed. And we'll talk about that here in a bit. But I like to start these podcasts by doing an elevator introduction.
Okay.
You know what an elevator introduction is?
First 5 minutes. Yeah,
so you were the first podcast guest. I've talked to over 6 people now for this season. None of them have known what an elevator introduction is. Yep. It's basically when you go into a building, you go into an elevator, you have about 20, 30 seconds to get to know somebody.
Yep.
Chris, I see you in an elevator. Tell me about yourself.
All right. Hey, so I'm 27, Marine Corps veteran, born and raised Bryan, Ohio. I've been working out and fitness practically my entire life. I mean, it started at a young age, 15 or 16 years old, you know, when first getting into sports.
Started when I was 14.
Yep. Starting that foundation young. You know, I have a passion for working out. I got a passion for being outdoors and out in the woods and stuff like that. And
you hunt?
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Good deal.
I get that venison meat. I get those good nutrients.
Yeah, no, venison has a lot of nutrients to it. A lot more than even beef.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's great because it's not an animal that's sitting in a slaughterhouse getting fed. That animal's out working and eating natural ingredients, and then getting working that muscle. Yeah. Traveling miles and miles a day.
Yeah. Okay. So you told me a little bit about your military background. Talk about a little about your lifting background. Yep. You know, how long you've been lifting, and you've told me that, but what's your lifting consist of? Are you one of those cardio bunnies that jump around?
I am a cardio bunny.
Chris doesn't do very much cardio. I can vouch for him on that.
No. So I started out, in sports. I think I was in 7th grade and started wrestling and football and all that. And I remember getting slayed when the season would come back around and thinking, I am out of shape. I need to start working out. So it kind of drove me to work out, outside of a sport realm, when you're a kid. And Bryan was lucky enough to have a field house that we could go to pretty much anytime we wanted to. So I used to ride my bike from the complete opposite side of Bryan all the way across town. It took me like 20 minutes on my bike. I was like a 14, 15-year-older.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, to go to the field house just to work out. And I knew nothing about lifting about then, other than what the coaches taught. And the coaches, bless their hearts, they're great, but they don't understand.
In high school, I was the same way. Coaches, they just don't know. Back in high school, they just don't.
Nothing against them. They're all a volunteer force pretty much.
Correct.
So that happened. Then as I got a little older, I started working out at Anytime Fitness, Fountain City Fitness, in Bryan, Ohio.
I thought you were going to say Planet Fitness.
I have never worked out at Planet Fitness.
I had to a couple times on a vacation, and it's an interesting place.
Yeah, the Lunko arm.
I never actually got to see it go off though.
I would do it. I just have to do it. I went there.
Started grunting. Yeah. But the dumbbells only go up to like 60 or 70 pounds there, so it's hard to grunt with that kind of weight.
Yeah. You just do bicep curls, hammer curls.
There you go.
Yeah. Then I started working out with a Romanian man named Cosmin. And he was a short dude, but he was stocky. He was awesome. And he taught me about my basis of lifting. He taught me pretty much everything I knew starting off the bat. And he would work with me. He would push me. And he's the one who gave me that mindset. Because that's the big thing about working out. You can go in the gym, you can do the movements. But if you have the mindset and get the muscle mind connection and go in there with with an agenda to work out and push yourself, you're going to get better.
And that's the difference between somebody that just goes in and, like today, for instance, I went in, did an early shoulder workout. I got to see a lot of people I never see because I don't train early. There's a lot of people that don't know how to train, and they're young and they're going through the motions and they're not taking their sets seriously. Like, it's crazy that people just don't understand how to train.
No. And then you gotta understand like the time under tension. You gotta understand the rest periods and stuff like that. And it's learning your body too, because everybody's different. Yeah. You have yourself down to, you're on a timer. I have myself down to like a mental thing. I just know when I'm ready. I
mean, I set the timer to make sure I rest long enough.
Yeah.
I don't do it I don't do it like, oh, it's time to go. I do it because sometimes I get talking and I want to make sure I'm rested long enough, because I know for like heavy power movements, I like about 3 minutes.
Yep.
So that's something I like to set, but that's not a reason though. Like, I don't need that timer. It's just something to make sure I get enough rest.
Yep. Yeah, mine is a walk to the water fountain. So if you
I see that.
I finish the set, I walk to the water fountain and back.
You don't like to bring a water bottle.
I don't. I know
a few people that don't like to bring water. I'm like, you guys live in like the 18th century.
Hey, I'm actually getting my cardio in, all right?
That's one way to do it. Mid-set cardio.
Yeah. So Cosmin, he showed me the basis of everything, and he was a great mentor, and he showed me a lot of different movements, helped me push myself to be better. Then after that, I joined the Marine Corps, and the Marine Corps, their fitness is mainly cardio. So I went from never running at all to running 5 to 10 miles a day, and my cardio got great. I was running a 3 mile in 21 minutes. Wow. My best time was like just under 20 minutes.
Were you still maintaining your lifts at that though, doing all that cardio?
Yeah. I was. My strength was nowhere near what it is now. I can still bench press 225 and get reps in, but it was nowhere near where I'm at now. And I wasn't in the Marine Corps. Also, I was never trying to focus on my lifting. I was trying to focus on more on my endurance, but with weight. So I like to ruck a lot. Rucking is where you carry weight on your back in a pack. So in the Marine Corps, we do what's called boots and utes. You have like your canvas pants on and your boots on. So at night, instead of going to the gym, I would throw a pack on, get in boots and utes, and I was stationed in Marine Corps Base, Hawaii. Ooh. And in the middle of the base, we had this hill called KT. KT is a...
like steep?
Yeah, it's steep. Yeah, it is steep. And I would ruck up that and ruck back down to my barracks, and it would be a whole trip of like 1.5 miles. But it's probably a half mile just up KT. And
if you don't know what rucking is, it's a lot of weight. How much weight is it?
I was doing 35 pounds.
Okay. Yep. I've heard of rucking up to 70 pounds.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, but you're not taking 70 pounds of KT.
No, I'd die.
Yeah.
That's a lot of shit to carry.
Yeah. So I mainly did that because we would have morning PT, or we would have hikes with our company commander, and you're in full camis with your rifle, your flak on, your pack on, and you're pretty much slow jogging. That's what rucking is.
Okay.
So my main goal was to never fall out, because I was a leader. When I was in the Marine Corps, I was a corporal. I picked up sergeant in my first 4 years.
Nice.
And one thing that I take a lot of pride on is like always like keeping my bearing, staying stoic, no matter if I'm getting slayed or not. I look like I'm fine. Mm-hmm. So I would always push myself. Nobody's around. Slay myself, nobody's around. So when the time came to
that's a warrior mentality that you just said right there that I talk about. When you're weak, feel strong, act like you're strong. When you're strong, act like you're weak. You do the opposite. It's an art of war technique, actually.
Yeah. And it's so beneficial to put yourself through adversity when nobody's around.
Mm-hmm. Very important to that grind, that mental grind to keep you going. So this Cosmin, go back to him a little bit. How do you meet a Romanian?
So
I want to know this story.
This guy was awesome. All right. I met him at the gym. He was from Romania. He had a master's degree in teaching, but they didn't recognize it in the United States. So I felt really bad for him. He was working a night shift and he's going to college overnight while working during the day and trying to get his teaching degree back.
Wow.
Yes, and he was never missing out at the gym. And if I missed the gym one day when I was supposed to be there and he was there, he would make sure to let me know the next day.
He just drove it like we do in the group. Like
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep. And then he would slay me too. It was kind of like if Kaz is there, then I'm working out with him and he's slaying. I was young. I was 18 at the time, so I was all for it. I was all for him pushing me. I remember he got me strong. He was the reason I got strong, and he actually, nothing against him, but he contributed to tearing my pec my first time.
Oh no.
So I put 225 on the bench and I said, hey, I'm going to go for like 10 reps. And he was like, all right.
18 at the time.
Yeah, 18 at the time.
That's a lot of reps at 18.
Yeah. And I do the 10 reps and I go put the bar back and he pushes back. Goes, keep going.
Oh no.
I'm like, fuck. So
no.
I'm going. I get to like 15. I'm struggling. And he's like more. And like, he's like serious face. And I'm like, all right, lock in. So I'm locking and I'm going. And then I get to like rep 18 and I'm on my way up. And then just the whole, I never felt, I can't even explain it. It was just
describe
like,
it as a pop. That's what I've heard for people that have had it. Like a pop that happens in it. Like it feels like your shoulder goes out of socket and backwards. That's what I've heard.
And it's like a complete loss of feeling. And like, it felt like my arm was no longer there. And like the bar just dropped immediately.
Right. Because your bicep gets unattached.
Yeah.
There. Yep.
Yeah. And I was a partial tear, thankfully.
Oh, good.
Yep. So it was not bad, but I got all purple and stuff. And I had to take a while off lifting. And so that's another thing I had to learn as I go on is like,
to be smart.
Be smart with your lifting. And we'll get into more injuries I've had because some dumb injuries.
He's had a similar back injury to me. Yep. I had my L4, L5. You had a
L4, L5.
Broken back, brothers.
Yeah. Actually, I'll get it real quick. So I just finished a program called 75 Hard. I finished 75 Hard. I went from like 200 and about 18 pounds down to 184 in 75 days. And I was killing myself pretty much. I was drinking a gallon of water a day, eating about 1,650 calories a day. My diet was
1,600. I just had 1,600 before you came.
Hey, like I said, but 75 days, I lost like almost 30 pounds, something crazy like that. And I finished that and I was about 186 at this time. And I was like, all right, now I'm going to do a lean bulk. So I increased my protein dramatically, increased my carbs dramatically. And I was like, all right, I'm going to lift heavy in the gym now. I was doing a T-bar row unassisted with just a little bracket in the side of a machine, you know, and I had the V-bar handles. Yeah. And I had 545 plates on.
Oh no.
And I did the first rep and it came up so easy. And I was like, oh, like, let's go. Like, I'm going to knock this thing out like 10 times. And I drop it and I caught it. And I caught the weight in midair.
Oh, you shouldn't have done that.
And my back popped and I lost feeling my legs and I just hit the ground. And then I got back on a knee for a second and I was like, all right, I just cracked my back. That's all I did. I just cracked my back. And I tried to stand up and I fell again.
Did you think you were paralyzed when it happened?
I think my adrenaline was running so much that I thought that I broke my back. And when I stood up the second time, I have never experienced so much pain radiating down both my legs and in my hips.
It's insane. It's
bad.
I would never wish it on my worst enemy.
Nope.
It is horrible.
Nope. It is the worst pain I ever felt. I had to go to the ER that night. I went home and I laid on the couch with my weight belt still on. And my now wife got home. And she was like, what's wrong? And I was laying sideways on the couch and I was like, I messed my back up. She's like, all right, I'm going to go to the ER. And I was like, no, I should be fine. And I stood up and used the wall, tried to walk towards the kitchen, get something to drink, and I fell to the ground. Now, this was the scariest moment. This is when I realized it was serious. I could not get off the ground. I was laying flat on my stomach. I could not get off. I couldn't roll over to any side. I couldn't scoot back. And it took she had to bring a chair over. I had kind of chicken wing on the chair and she had to help me up. And it took us probably 15, 20 minutes just for me to get up off the ground. I was crying. By then all the adrenaline wore off and the pain set in.
Yeah. And the pain is unlike any other.
I wouldn't wish that on anybody. No, I went to the ER and the ER, they were so, they did not care. They did not care at all. I sat in the ER, in pain, freaking out for probably an hour and a half before the doctor even see me. Yeah, and then he see me and he wouldn't even give me an X-ray pretty much. He gave me an X-ray and he gave me some pain pills. I was like, all right, that's it. And yeah, it was bad. So I ended up having to wear a back brace for over a month straight. I couldn't set up straight that was the hardest part is you don't understand how grateful it is just to set like this and not be in pain.
Yeah.
I mean, I could not, every time I sat like this, I felt like my disc was just squishing. And another thing too that was very weird, going back to the injury itself, was when I think I ruptured my disc. Because after when it popped and I fell down, I felt like water was going down my back.
You did rupture it. That's the gel pack. You're basically, there's gel pack. If you don't know how your spine is, there's gel packs, and those are discs actually between your layers of your spine.
Yep.
And that water you felt was the gel pack popping, and that's fluid, that's interspinal fluid dripping down your spine.
Yeah,
it's nasty.
That was the weirdest feeling I ever felt in my life. I actually reached back and touched my back, so I thought I was bleeding.
Yeah. That's what the people say that I've done that. Yeah, you did rupture it though. That is true. I herniated mine, but it was just as bad. It felt just as bad.
Yep.
But yeah, mine also happened on rows. it was a deadlift day, and I had got my deadlifts done for the day. It was 4 sets of 7. I was 2 weeks out from testing my 1 reps. I was doing 4 sets of 7 with 315, so not crazy weight on deadlifts. The deadlifts felt fine. They went great. The accessory work I had planned for that day was reverse grip bent over rows. And I only had said to work up to 155 and do 4 sets of 8. That's a typical accessory work that I had back then. And it was the first set went great. Second set went great. Third set, I felt it. That was when it happened, the third set. And it was, like I said, it wasn't going for a 1 rep max or anything. Yep. I wasn't deadlifting. It was just my accessory work. I got off placement, off balance or something. But I'll never forget it. I went up, I felt that pop that you described, and I collapsed. And I was like, what just happened? And I didn't feel the pain right away. And I laid there for a while, rolled around, and I was like, what is going on here? And I'm trying to stretch around, like something does not feel right. And I was working downstairs. I have a gym downstairs, my basement. And I was trying to get up the stairs. That's when I started to feel, I was like, oh my gosh, I had to crawl up the stairs. And I get upstairs, and I couldn't even stand straight. But you're describing the sitting, though. I wrote down sitting because I was working in an office job, and I almost lost my job at that time because I would not stay at my desk. I told my boss, I need to walk around. Like sitting is the worst. Yep. I hated driving. I hated sitting. It felt like I just wanted to die at that point. I was in so much pain, and it took me forever to be able to just sit without pain.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Yep, I'm the same. I work in IT, so I had a desk job, and the pain, it's not like just the pain. Like I was sweating because it hurt so bad. I couldn't get comfortable. Luckily, how I found out position, and I still have to set this way. I have to set lean back with my feet up propped up in the air.
Okay.
If my feet are not propped up in the air, like for more than a couple hours, like I'm in a lot of pain. And I had to buy this back little brace that attached to my seat that actually curved my back out.
A lot of chairs are made that way now. I've noticed.
I need a double for sport.
I see. So you're like this basically.
Yeah. I can only sleep on my stomach. I cannot sleep on my back. Like anytime at night, if I wanted to move, roll over, I'm waking up, I'm in pain. Like
for me, it was
not a good time.
For me, I gravitated to my side. My side was the best place. If I slept on my back, it was total pain. And I don't like sleeping on my stomach. I've read about studies and stuff that it's not good for yourself. There's a lot of studies that say. So I've never wanted to sleep on my stomach. So I've always gravitated to one side or the other. And that started from that injury, basically. Yep. So it's funny how an injury kind of warps your reality then afterwards.
Yep.
So we're going to start talking about the science the science around just behind fitness supplements as a whole. So share your background and expertise in nutrition and supplementation, Chris.
All right. A lot of just, YouTube learning to start off, because when you don't know anything, and obviously none of my friends and my family knew anything about supplements. So I started doing a lot of research on that. I started off watching a lot of like Chris Jones.
I remember Chris Jones. I'm still subscribed to him.
Yep. Chris Jones. I met him at the Arnold Classic, actually. That's how I got affiliated with him in the first place. Yep. He was also with the Swole Nerd. I don't know if you know who that is.
Yeah, I know who that is too. That's all the same era.
So I started following those guys first. Those got me into it, and watching their videos, watching their nutrition, stuff like that. And supplements, to start off, supplements is meant to supplement yourself.
I have that in here.
Yep. You do not need supplements. No. Nobody needs supplements. You can use whole foods and get your proper nutrition. But if you cannot meet your macros and you meet your goals for the day, supplements are amazing. And they're amazing on top of that just to help create a better diet for you and help your vitamins, your minerals, and then your creatine and everything like that in general. So a lot of it was self-learning. A lot of it was eventually diving in and reading books. Education of a Bodybuilder is a great book to read by Arnold.
I've read it 3 times.
Yep, that is a great book to read. So diving as I got older, I started taking lifting more seriously and get my macros more seriously. Started planning out and learning about how many calories are in a gram of fat, how many calories in a gram of protein and carb and stuff like that. And that's how it all started. And then in the Marine Corps, they do some basic stuff to help me out, but it was mainly just self-taught and reading books.
I see. And so did you have so for me, it was bodybuilding.com.
Yep.
And I went through a phase in my life where I was obsessed with trying different supplements. I tried everything from CLA, some of the most bullcrap stuff, just because I saw it on bodybuilding.com and I saw the brand labels and the labels promised this and this. And I was 17, 18,
Yep.
I fell into that trap of, it's going to promise you muscle in this amount of weeks. I'm going to buy it. Yep. I remember I had shelves full of different supplements and stuff. Did you have any periods of time like that where you?
Yeah, it was. Started working out before I got my license, and as soon as I got my license, I used to drive to Defiance, which is about a half hour from Bryan, where I'm from, and I used to go to GNC, and I was getting CLAs, like you said. I was getting everything. I was getting all these protein powders that were just full of fillers and tons of carbs and stuff in there that you didn't need in any protein. And it was just great.
GNC was the worst.
It was the worst. And then they talk you into it.
The people behind the counters, they're like, you gotta try this. You gotta try, selling you drugs basically.
Yeah.
You gotta try this and put on more muscle. And it was crazy.
It is also the people behind the counter didn't look the healthiest either.
No, they did not. They looked like they barely even lift.
Yeah.
So what are the most common fitness supplements you think in the fitness industry that should be talked about?
Well, the first one I would start with for anybody that wants to work out would just be your basic protein powder.
Yes, a whey protein.
Protein powder is great because for me, I like to hit between 1.5 grams to 2 grams of protein per pound of body weight.
That's perfect. That's what I recommend.
Yep, that's where I always try to stay in. And if I'm in a bulk or trying to get, put some more muscle on, I'll go up to 2.5, So protein powder helps supplement, getting that protein because eating, if you're 200 pounds of body weight, trying to get 2 grams of protein, that's 400 grams of protein a day. That can be a little challenging to do, especially, when you're on a lower budget, and protein is a lower cost, per scoop compared to, chicken and steak and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So protein powder is definitely the basis of where I think everybody should start with if they're getting in their lifting, career.
Is there a secondary thing you'd recommend?
Creatine.
Thank you. I was like, Chris better say creatine because he knows I talk about creatine all the time. I recommend creatine to everybody.
Yeah, creatine is great. So creatine, to get to a scientific level, your body uses energy molecules called ATP.
Yep, correct.
Yep, ATP when you're working out. Creatine helps regenerate those faster. Also, creatine into a non-scientific level, it just pulls water in your muscles too. It'll make your muscles look fuller and make you look better and stuff. Now, it's obviously going to make you carry some water weight. So people care about that. I don't care about that.
Thank you for saying that. Now, I'm glad you said that because one of the biggest things out there is creatine HCl.
Yep.
Now, you know why that's popular? Because it doesn't make you retain water and get bloated. There's no point in taking it then, because that's the point of creatine.
Yep, that is the point.
It makes you pull in more water into your muscles.
Which is a good thing.
Yes. I don't know why people think that's a bad thing. They're like, I don't want to take creatine. It makes you hold water. That literally will make you stronger, powerful. Yep. I mean, more hydrated. Yep. All the good things that come with it.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, creatine is great. It's a building block, I think, to any lifting career. I think it's great. Now, as far as what you should take a day, average is 5 grams of creatine. Yep. But once you get over, I would say 220 pounds, I think you need to up it to 7 or 8 grams, just a little bit more. Obviously, the same person who doesn't weigh 170 pounds doesn't even take the same creatine if somebody weighs 250 pounds.
I agree with completely. It's different body types, different body structures and weights. And the more you weigh, the more something you're going to need. You're higher to the dosage.
Exactly.
I recommend 5 grams for most people. I mean, most people can get away with that. But yes, if you're over 200 pounds, probably 7 to 10.
Yep.
What about BCAAs, Chris? BCAAs. What are your opinions?
BCAAs, also known as amino acids.
Branched chain amino acids.
Yep. They're good. And I wouldn't say it's just a complete, bull product, but that can be used to help mitigate yourself from wasting calories. BCAAs are 0 calories. So what some people do is I don't recommend drinking your calories. That's just what I say no to.
He says that I drink about a half gallon of milk like almost every day.
That's different. But drinking like a pop or drinking a fruit juice and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So what I use BCAAs for is a supplement to get people off of like drinking sugar water, I call it.
Yeah.
If people drinking fruit punch, that's horrible for you. Drinking fruit punch aminos. It's the same price. It's actually gonna be cheaper than going out and buying stuff, and it's healthier for your body in general.
Oh yeah, for sure. Have you ever taken BCAAs yourself, Chris?
Yep. I actually do take BCAAs.
Oh, you on a regular basis? You do?
No, not regular basis. I would say mainly like I said, I use it for like a drink replacement. Drinking water every day gets kind of boring.
Yeah.
So I'll use like 0 calorie Gatorade packets, and I mix it up with BCAAs and mix it with that. And that's about what I kind of rotate with.
I see. I've experimented with BCAAs, and I honestly think they're beneficial for if you train in a fasted state. I think you can benefit from them. But for somebody that's getting their protein throughout the day, as long as you're hitting your protein, BCAAs are kind of pointless. Yeah, they really are. They're just kind of that bridge. If you're trying to diet, maybe they could come in handy then. There's sometimes in a phase where if you're cutting, they could be handy. Yeah, but I don't recommend them to most people. For most times, they're a waste of money.
Yeah, they're a waste of money. I agree with that, but I mainly use them for like a replacement,
and that's good. I like that idea because I never even thought about that. But like a replacement for sugary drinks for somebody that's coming off that, like a heavier set person that likes sugary drinks, BCAAs taste awesome. I mean, Extend was what I used to use, Extend brand, and had every flavor under the sun. And they were delicious.
Yep, I have clients I train actually were addicted to sugar. And said like I have to eat like candy during it. Like I can't walk past a bowl of candy without eating it. And they want that sweet taste. And I said, hey, try these aminos. They try the aminos, and they have lost tons of weight. They look absolutely amazing.
It's awesome.
They get off the sugar. They don't have those cravings. They don't get the jittery, the sugar vibe from that anymore.
So that's right there. Supplements can be useful in that time.
Very useful.
Let's talk about pre-workouts.
All right.
There are so many pre-workouts out there, Chris.
Yep.
What are some of the ones you've tried?
Bet Labz. So my go-to. Well, okay. Let me start off. I start off with C4. That's what everybody did, I think.
It's a common one.
Yep. And then I moved out of that to the name's blanking on me. The old school formula, Jacked.
Before it was banned?
Before it was banned.
That's way back.
I only had one bottle, and that was amazing.
I remember that stuff. That shit felt like you were on crack.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I actually, funny story, and I'm kind of embarrassed. I don't think I've ever told a story for anybody. I was on my way to the gym. I had a 1999 Buick Regal. I took Jacked for the first time. I think I did a scoop and a half.
Ooh.
I was listening to like some 5-finger death punch or something. I was like, yeah. I was like getting all pumped up. I punched my steering wheel and locked the horn up. And my horn was just going,
are you serious?
In the front of the gym for like, it took like 6 minutes of nonstop before the horn slowly went and died off. And my horn never worked after that. I was trying to pull up YouTube videos on my phone, trying to figure out how to unplug my horn and stuff. Yeah, I punched it so hard, I locked my horn in.
You're like that meme online that has the picture of the person driving, and their pre-workout kicks in and they're driving. They're like, yeah, let's go. You're literally the example
that was me. That was me. Yep. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yep. And then after that, I stuck with No Explode for forever. I was a huge BSN fanboy back in the day. I loved BSN.
I used their BCAAs back then for a long time.
I loved their No Explode. I loved their protein before it got filled with tons of fillers in it. Yeah. I loved all that stuff, the good formulas back in the day. So No Explode was my go-to. And I think the reason why I liked it so much, because I'd pop the top of my shaker and go boom, and it'd blow up. And I don't know, it just, me being 18, 19 years old, thought, yeah, this is what I need.
It's go time.
Yeah. And then after that, I joined the Marine Corps. I didn't really take a lot of pre-workout when I was in the Marine Corps. What I mainly would do, we would shotgun Red Bulls and before we would go to the gym and stuff like that. Just
Red
one
Bull
of those
mindsets.
Yep. Me and my buddies actually called our protein shakes beer back in the day. So we'd go to the gym, we would go back, we'd slam like a 12-pack, and that was my protein shake.
You nerds. You were doing that, and I was in college by drinking, getting wasted.
So that was great. I did No Explode too when I was in the Marine Corps, but it wasn't the same. I think they changed the formula up after a few years and stuff like that. I tried Ghost. Ghost is not a bad product, but they're more for taste, I would say. They're not really more for
It's
like
dosed
performance.
It's dosed properly.
Yeah,
It really, I do like the dosage of Ghost.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. They have amazing flavors. For me though, I like my caffeine when I work out. I know you're a coffee guy.
Yep. Always black cup of coffee.
I think that pre-workout is not needed,
Yeah.
but I think it definitely assists, and I think that it definitely
agree.
helps out a lot. And pre-workout, I mean caffeine, because that's what pre-workout is. It's just caffeine.
Yeah, most blends. Now, when I talk about pre-workout, I'll talk about like what I take and what I recommend for most people. But other than caffeine, like what's your experience with proprietary blends?
I kind of got away from those once I kind of figured out what they were. And once I figured out that they just don't tell you the ingredients, they just say, Ghost blend or, BSN blend and stuff like that. Back in the day, I never turned around and looked at the labels.
Yeah, neither did I.
I just took it.
Same here. Neither did I.
If it had a cool label and it looked good and I got recommended it.
Had cool color scheme.
Yep, cool color scheme. I was on it. I actually, the reason I took BSN was because I got thrown a free BSN shirt when I was at the Arnold Classic. Oh. So I was like, oh, this is cool. It's like a bumblebee and all this stuff.
So you wanted to support the brand.
Yeah, exactly. So they got me. They got me.
It's all about supporting the brand. Like you feel like you're part of a culture, I think, back then when I first started.
Yep, exactly. You're a gym culture, and you had to be supporting your brand and wearing your brand and stuff like that. So it was good. And I do see it. I think as I got older in the midlifting community for a lot longer, I see brands stick out and I see them suck people in. And it's like, it's just about going in the gym and having the correct mindset. Like there's like what is it, Gymshark fanboys now. I love it. I love seeing them.
Brian at our gym now. I've noticed that. I've seen that.
And I don't say anything. I'm like, you know what, let them have that phase.
Now,
like,
the women wearing the spandex gym shorts, I'm not gonna argue. That's
all for it.
That's support that brand.
buy it. And then going back to the pre-workout and that, I started figuring out that I did not like beta alanine. I could not stand that.
I wrote that on my. We'll get to that here. I hate beta alanine.
Yeah, I hate it with a passion. So when I helped design my pre-workout, I didn't want beta alanine in it.
That's good.
I decided to pull it. That doesn't do anything for me. It just gets me jittery, gets me itchy, and it takes away from the concentration.
The only reason you should take beta alanine is if you do 15 to 20 reps on a regular basis, or endurance training. That's when it can be beneficial. But for a typical bodybuilder, 8 to 15 reps in that range, or even 5s for strength training, you're not going to notice anything.
Exactly.
Just the itchiness, the itchy annoyingness.
The beta alanine is kind of for the pump.
Yes.
Yep. So I like you said 15 to 20. I usually I'm 20. Like 12 and above. And I do actually sell a beta alanine product too. I sell a pump product because I got a bunch of people saying, "Where's my beta alanine?" I like that itchiness, and I'm like, "All right." And I did some testing, ran some tests, and I got the most potent beta alanine product you can take. To me, I took two dosing of 2 pills and had to take Benadryl after.
Oh gosh,
because it was making me lose my mind so much. I was freaking out. I was getting itches. I was going insane. But I'm not a beta alanine guy. So if you're into beta alanine, go get. It's called Pump Blast.
Pump Blast. Have you given Josh any of that? Josh has tried a lot of your stuff.
Oh yeah, I might have to hook him up and let him try that. But yeah, so my beta alanine guys, nothing wrong with that. I do take it if I'm gonna do a rep day.
I see.
Because I like to change my training up. I like to do some. I would say 6 to 12, and then some days I'm doing 12 to 25.
I was going to ask you about real quick if you could cover your training, like, and go into that. Like, what does a typical training plan look for you?
Yeah, so over the years, I've done them all. I mean, I've tried to figure out every single thing that would work best for my body. What I figured out works best for me is doing the chest tries, back buys, shoulders, and when I do shoulders, I'll throw triceps in with that as well, because the triceps don't die. That's what I say. You can train triceps almost every single day. They're going to be fine. They're going to recover. Yeah. And then the legs. So chest tries, back buys, shoulders tries again, maybe some biceps if I'm feeling it, and then legs.
Did I hear that right? Chris trains legs? Chris trains legs? What now? What?
So when we get into that, I have, like we talked about, my back is destroyed. I can do leg extension, legs curls. I remember one day, it was probably about 4 months ago, I came in the gym and said, no, I'm gonna hit squat rack today. I did a set of 8 reps at 135, and my back popped, and I limped out of the gym. So for me, it's like, I'll do the accessories, but it kind of scares me. It's like, do I want to be in pain for the next week? Is it worth it to me?
Trust me, I fight that on a weekly basis. But for me, I need squats. Like for me, if I skip them, I'll get just mad at stupid things during the day and stuff. Like I need that battle every week with that bar on your back. There's just nothing else like it.
I will always say the squat is the best lift ever.
Yeah,
it is the most challenging lift, and it is the most full body workout. You're using your core, you're using your lats, you're using your shoulders, you're using everything to do a squat.
And the most testosterone is produced, because if you fail a squat, you could die. That's what your body looks at it as. You know, you have all this weight on. If your body doesn't come up, that's a lot of testosterone being produced to push that weight back up.
Yep. And before I hurt my back and had all these back problems, contributed with the Marine Corps, I loved squatting. I was doing legs almost 3 times a week sometimes. I loved squatting. I was trying to hit 315 for 3 sets of 10 all the time. I failed 405 like I want to say like 8 times before I got it. And I was like, I got it when I was like 18. And that was my goal. I was like, I want to get 4 wheels on there. I want to squat that. And every time I failed it, I just want to get madder. I'll do legs and more and more and more and more and more. And I think that was like how I started off my little journey. So going back to my split, it was kind of like I want to hit this number. So I want to hit a 225 bench. So I did chest like 3 days a week, and I would lack my other things. I would still go do them, but I would try to hit that 225, and then I got that, I was happy. And then I said, all right, I want to squat this much. And I was very immature with my lifts, because I was negating the best muscle I personally think is the workout is the back. I heard I forget what bodybuilder I heard say this, but I've seen strong people that were weak, strong people that had strong legs that were weak. I had people that had a huge bench that were weak. I've never seen somebody with a big back that was weak.
Yes, exactly. I agree. I always tell people back and shoulders are some of the most healthiest muscles to lift in general, just because they keep you healthy. They keep you longevity is another big thing. They keep you going for a long time too. You have a healthy back, healthy shoulders. There's a link probably, I'd say.
Yep. So now I don't get that challenge from it, because I know that challenge you're talking about. When you get under a squat bar, there's no feeling like, especially when you have some weight on your back, it feels great stepping off, backing up, getting your spacing and stuff, and getting that breath right before you do that, rep.
I love it. I freaking love it.
I love it. For me now, it's the lat pull down.
Yeah.
I load that. I load it up to like 225. I say, all right, I'm gonna hit 12 reps right now, and I'll grab my hands up, get my grip good. I'll drop down. I'll just try to do nice, slow, contracted reps, time under tension. Leave that. I don't like to flex. I like to come all the way out and get that full extension of my lat. Come all the way and get the nice pull and bring it back. And that's the thing too, is people when they lift, they're just doing the motion. They're not thinking about the mind muscle connection. And that's a huge part. The huge part is the contraction. If you're not contracting that muscle and feeling it and pulling it in and getting that good squeeze, you're not doing it.
You're wasting your time.
Yeah, you're just wasting your time at that point.
You're going through the motions, and that's about it.
Yep. Then as I got older, I started doing tons of different plans. The Mad Cow 5x5 is a great one for people trying to put on strength. There's the push pull legs. I've done that one before.
That's a common one.
Yeah, that's a very common one. That one didn't work for me that well. I think it was just too many movements for me to do each day.
Yeah.
So
that's why I stopped too.
Yep. So I found out the beneficial one for me is just, like I said, my normal routine. Now what I'll do with that is I like to mix stuff sometimes. So usually like chest days, or Monday's International Chest Day, I'll switch it around, and I'll do back like on Mondays, and I'll do shoulders the next day. And I try to give my body the optimal rest. I heard on what I've talked about is 72 hours for a muscle. But it's hard to give a muscle 72 hours of rest, because so many other muscles are used in other lifts.
You're going to have crossover all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
I tell people really not to worry about that. The body is very adaptable.
Yeah.
I went through a phase where I squatted 3 times a week, and it's your body adapts.
Yep.
You get less sore, your body adapts, and you get stronger.
Yep. And your body's a machine. It's going to adapt to any program you put it through. So that's one thing I always say too, is mix up your workouts. Like I said earlier, I'll do some days where I'll do lower weights, lower reps, and some days I'll do heavier weights or lower weights, heavier reps. Some days I'll do higher reps, lighter weight. I think you constantly need to be changing it up. Even if you're doing the same type of program, change your lifts up, change the accessories up, hit muscles from different angles and different movements and stuff like that, and be open to trying new things. I think that was one thing that really helped me out, was being open. I used to look at the Smith machine and think, I will never touch that.
It's a good machine.
The Smith machine is amazing.
You can do so much stuff.
So many things. Shoulders with the Smith machine, bent over rows with the Smith machine, or you can do like squats, front squats with the Smith machine. Everything can be done with the Smith machine. It is a great tool to use.
Exactly. I was the same way. I used to say, "Oh, he's using a Smith machine." I was guilty of that too. It's a common misconception though, because the Smith machine can be used for all kinds of stuff. And that goes along with machines too. You didn't do any machine works, or what's your opinion on machines?
No, I was actually, I think that was one thing that held me back a little bit. I'm a huge hammer strength fan. I like plate loaded things, but I started off only using cable machines. I was kind of embarrassed to use a weighted like other than a bench. I was kind of embarrassed to use any plate load or things. So I didn't know really what was the correct weight to use, if I was using good weight or not. I was always kind of self-conscious about the weight I was lifting too.
I see. Okay.
So for me going to the gym, I first started off, if I see somebody lifting more weight than me, I was like I'm a pussy, you know, like straight up. I was like, I need to lift heavier weight. And then as I got stronger and I started seeing people that were lifting less weight than me, I don't look at them as weak. I looked at them as, you're in the gym, you're putting in effort. Like that's awesome. Like you don't need to compare your chapter like 5 to somebody else's chapter 20.
It's all about staying in your lane. I say that a lot. Stay in your lane. You know, everybody's lane is different.
And stay consistent. If you can get to any goal you want to achieve, you know, if you think you can, you can. And that's what it comes down to.
I've said that in 3 podcasts, I think, so far. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. And
exactly.
I love it. I love it. It's what
true.
this brand has been built on, I think. And it's a powerful thing because a lot of people go into a lift or anything and they immediately think, oh, they're psyched themselves out. I'm not going to make this lift. What happens? They fail the lift. We've seen all the time in our gym. And if you go into a lift just psyched up and just don't think and just do it, chances are you're going to make the lift. So, Chris, what's your supplement stack? What do you take? What steroids you take?
A gram of Ted. I have never done steroids. I think we talked about that. I'm open to doing them, but not right now in my life. I think it's beneficial to do when you're young. I think it's not smart. As of right now, I take a multivitamin every day. I take 20,000 IUs of vitamin B12. I take like an Alpha Brain. I take 2 fish oil pills, 1 in the morning, 1 at night. I usually take protein powder sometimes if I'm lifting or not, if I don't hit my macros for the day. I like to drink my aminos like during the day sometimes as well. Those are the main staples. I would say. Oh, I'm sorry, not B12. Vitamin. I take 20,000. I use a D3.
20,000. Oh wow, 20,000 a lot.
Yep,
that's a big number.
5 tablets.
What made you want to do 20,000?
I was listening to the JRE, and it showed that anything over 15,000 helps increase testosterone. So I said, I'm gonna do 20,000. And this guy was actually doing 25,000.
Wow.
But I said, no, I'm gonna do 20.
Last season I did a podcast about my experiment I did with vitamin D3. I started with 2,000, upped it every couple weeks, and I got up to 9,000 before I started feeling bad. And 9,000, really? I just felt like headaches. I felt tired. All the symptoms, your head itches. So I dropped it back down, and I found I like 5,000. I take 5,000 a day, and that's like if I go over 5, that's when I start to feel the effects of it. But that's really interesting. You had no effects after.
No, actually, I would say, I don't know if it's like a placebo type thing, but I feel like if I don't take it, I don't focus as well. I feel like if I don't take my pill stack in the morning, I have a 5-day thing. I load it all up on Sundays. I keep it on my desk at work. I'm in the morning. First thing I'll do is take my stuff, and I feel like if I don't take that the first in the morning, I feel sluggish throughout the day. I've never had any negative side effects from taking that much at all.
And how long have you been doing the 20,000 dose?
Minimum of 6 months.
Wow, you definitely would feel effects if it would hit you by now. But that's fascinating. 20,000 IU a day. That's really up there.
Yep.
I don't recommend that for a lot of people.
I also weigh about 215.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay, so you talked about vitamins you take. What about supplements for gym?
For the gym, I take a pre-workout. That's just standard for me. 200 milligrams caffeine is in mine. That's why I take mine usually every single day. As far as anything during or after, other than protein, not really. I stay kind of basic with it. I like to eat within a half hour of my I've done working out, and you're in a bulk window, whatever. One thing I used to do back in the day was, I know it doesn't really help, but I used to eat the Hasbro gummy bears right after my workout to help spike my insulin, and then eat my protein after. Now the reason, it's all been debunked. But the reason behind that, if anybody's wondering, is it's made of glucose, not fructose. Your muscles cannot absorb fructose. It can absorb glucose. If you're on steroids and you spike your insulin, it's a way different than if you're not on steroids. It's beneficial to spike your insulin after you work out, and when you take in your macronutrients right after your workout, if you're on a cycle.
Do you still? You're acting like you're on a cycle.
No. I would look a lot better than right now.
So, do you do the glucose right now with your current training? You don't. So don't.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I come home and I stay to the basics. I eat a carb and a protein for sure every time.
Yeah.
My go-to is steak and potatoes. I mean, I love it.
Nice.
Sweet potatoes is also a great thing. Like my very convenient thing for people to do is get those microwave bags of broccoli and cheese. That's a good thing too to just help supplement. But as far as supplements after the gym, I'm pretty basic. I stick to whole foods.
Same here. I come home. My routine is I come home, pour a tall glass of milk, which is about a cup and a half. So it's about roughly 12 to 14 ounces of milk. And I'll have about 4 to 8 ounces of orange juice too, to help the liver. The liver likes fructose,
Okay.
And if you give the liver a little bit of fructose before a meal, it'll digest better. I learned that from Stan Efferding. So I do a little bit of orange juice, regular orange juice, not sugar packed orange juice, regular, just the juice. Have that. And then I'll have my dinner, which is usually rice and beef and eggs and a complex meal. But yeah, I also don't do any protein powder after my workout and stuff like that. You don't need it. I mean, it's beneficial if you have an active job and you don't have time to get that meal. Like, it was nice. I did my shoulder workout today, came home, made a meal with rice and beef, But if I was working in an office, I didn't have that time, I could easily do a protein shake. Yep. So it's all about convenience factor.
Yep. And the protein shakes help out amazing. I have plenty of friends who cannot physically eat that much throughout the day, cannot put that much protein in their body. And hey, 2 scoops of protein powder, mine's 29 grams of protein per scoop. There's almost 60 grams of protein right there. It's quick, it's fast, you can drink it, and you can move on.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, for me, I just wanted to cover like what I take compared to the years. So I have 2 categories, my life health supplements and then my training supplements. For me, I do a multivitamin too. I think it's just, I know a ton of studies say you don't need it and whatnot. Yeah. But the funny thing about that study though, is they asked the person that after the doctor did this, they asked the doctor afterwards and the doctor said, yeah, I still take a multivitamin. He proved it was useless in the study. He's even saying it's pretty useless, but I still take it. So it's like, all right, if a doctor did this study and still takes a multivitamin, I'm still going to take a multivitamin. Vitamin D3, I take 5,000 IU a day. And it's Super B complex. I like Super B complex. Yep. When you train, you lose a lot of B vitamins through sweat, through water retention, all that kind of stuff. So I like to replenish that with a couple Super B complex, fish oil, and yeah, that's my life health. And then, so for me, for training, what I do, and this is for me, I take this every day, even on my off days, because what I take is meant to help just recover and whatnot. First thing is citrulline malate. I think it's one of the most proven supplements to actually help with performance and pump and just overall just strength. I do about 9 grams a day. That's a lot of products are dosed about 6 grams, which are mostly it's underdosed because citrulline malate is a very expensive product. I am sure you know that because of being in the supplement industry. I've looked at making a supplement, and it's the supplement that I want to make is a lot. And I'm hoping someday I can make it because I think it would help a lot of people because it'd be dosed properly. Yeah. Because most people, they take 6 grams and say, oh, I don't feel much. You need to take 7 to 9 grams to even feel something. That's a lot of products out there say, oh, 4 grams, they has 4 grams, they take it. It's like you're wasting your money if you're taking these products and they're not dosed properly. If you're going to take them, you dose them properly. Yeah. And so I take citrulline malate 9 grams a day. Creatine monohydrate, I do 5 grams a day every day. That's just a standard. And then the caffeine, I like a cup of black coffee, so that's about 160 milligrams of caffeine right before training. And then last one here is sodium. Sodium is fantastic, and it's not talked about by a lot of people, but I do 500 milligrams in my pre-workout in this little concoction that I down, and I do 500 during the training. And sodium is a big beneficial one that I would recommend.
Especially with you being such a low body fat and body weight, sodium is very beneficial for you. Yeah. And I can tell the difference during the day. If I don't have enough sodium before my workout, I feel sluggish. I feel wore down a lot more and stuff like that. And if I up my salt during the day, I feel way better. Yeah.
How often is it, you eat a whole pizza at night and the next day you just feel like you're a superhero? It's people think it's the carbs and fats. It's the sodium. Yep. It's the fact that you took in 5,000 milligrams of sodium before bed, and that had time to saturate and everything, and that's why you feel fantastic.
So my sodium intake is right in the morning usually. Okay. Every morning, Monday through Friday, I eat 6 eggs on the way to work. Okay. And I cover it with hot sauce, and hot sauce is very high in sodium. Yeah. So that's mainly where I get my sodium.
It's 190 milligrams per 2 tablespoons.
Yep. And I probably put about 4 tablespoons to 6 on there.
Okay. That's roughly about 700 milligrams. Yep. So yep. Nice. But yeah, I tell people, don't be afraid of sodium. Sodium can really help somebody. I mean, have you ever tracked it to see how much you do a day?
I did actually. It was a couple years ago though, and I was right around. I was pretty high at the time. I was 1,000 to 2,000 a day easily.
That's not very high.
Oh, for me,
I think
it was
in 6,000 to 7,000 a day.
Oh,
And that's what I recommend for most
maybe
people.
I'm thinking off a little bit.
Yeah, for people that train on a regular basis, if you're only taking 2,000, and you're training, you're gonna have headaches. You're gonna feel weak. I recommend if you have never tracked sodium to track it, because people will be blown away. They'll see they're only taking in 2,000 because people think, oh, the American Standard Diet, I'm taking lots of sodium. If they write it down and actually track it, they're probably only taking in 2,000 milligrams, which is what the RDA recommends. But the RDA is recommending that for people that sit on the couch, don't train. If you train, you are excreting so much sodium. That all is going to have to be replenished. So what I recommend is start, if you've never tracked sodium, track it, see where you're at, and try going at least to 4,000 to 6,000 milligrams a day if you don't have any heart problems. If you have heart problems, don't do this.
Or if you're overweight, very overweight.
Very overweight, I guess. Yeah, but then chances are you have heart problems. So they kind of run hand in hand there. I don't know very many super overweight people that don't have heart problems. But if you don't have heart problems and you train, try 4,000, 6,000. You'll feel like a superhero if you've never done it before. That was one of the things I learned from Stay and Efforting. And when I listened to one of his seminars, and it changed everything, how I go about sodium now. I track it every day because that's the one variable that if I'm off like 1,000 or even 1,500 in a day, like I'll notice that at the gym, like I won't get as good as pump. I won't be as vascular. I won't be as strong. That's why I track it every day. I try to at least get around that 6,000 to 7,000.
Yeah, I need to retrack mine. I'm definitely off.
If you've never done it, if you're only doing 2,000 a day, you'll feel like you're on steroids at my recommendation. I guarantee it.
I tracked it. So I did 75 hard back in the day. I was tracking everything. I just wanted to experiment on my body. So I was like, had a notepad on my phone, and every day I would track like how many grams of protein, how many carbs, how many fats, everything right down the calculation. The reason I did start tracking, I know I tracked myself. I'm just way off on the numbers probably. I was working with this gentleman who was in his 80s, and he was like, I do not take in sodium at all.
Oh no.
He was just so against it. He was just so against sodium, and it kind of freaked. We had like an hour drive together, going somewhere, dropping something off, and he was like just hounding me on sodium. And I'm like sitting there, like I eat like 6 of these like turkey sausages a day, and they're tons of sodium in them. Like every single day, I was like a huge part of my diet. I was like, oh god, you're gonna die. It's
an electrolyte. You need sodium. There's a pump that goes on in your body all the time. It's called the sodium potassium pump. It's an electrolyte pump that makes your heart pump. And that's needed for general health. If you don't take in enough sodium, you're going to run into headaches. You're going to feel tired. Like a lot of Americans do, I think, probably fall under that. And also another thing too is drinking too much water. You drinking too much water. I use this analogy. Say you have a sponge and you soak the sponge. Just put the sponge in water, and then you soak it in salt. It's going to be all salty. Then you pour water over top of it. Some is fine, but you keep pouring it, all that salt's going to be off. Your body's the same way. You have to have that balance between water and sodium. If you're taking too much water and not enough sodium, you're going to feel tired. And if you're taking in too much salt with not enough water, you're also going to feel the dehydration effects then. You're not going to be too dry. So it's an important balance there to take.
That's a great piece of advice to pass off people. So I guarantee there's plenty of lifters out there who don't understand how sodium affects their body in that aspect.
Yeah, I tell people the sodium potassium electrolyte pump in the body can totally rechange your just focus. I have this sometimes where I'll be having brain fog or something during the day. I'll just go take 1/4 teaspoon salt, drink down some water, and I'll be ready to go.
Really?
Like my brain will be firing again. Wow. It's fascinating what the studies on it. I have to look up on that. But
I'm gonna have to definitely do some research on that.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
It's beneficial, very beneficial. But with that too, I do recommend people get at least 4,000 milligrams of potassium a day through foods. That helps that equal balance there. About 4,000 milligrams of potassium to about 4,000 to 6,000 milligrams of sodium.
You know how much potassium's in a banana?
Not off the top of my head.
I have no idea either.
I don't know. Yeah. Actually, a potato has more potassium than a banana.
Really?
Yes, quite a bit more. Double the potassium than a banana. I think I need some sodium. I'm having brain fogs. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on the sodium thing there because that's something that can help a lot of people, I think.
Yeah.
Let's talk about waste of money supplements. First one I have on the list here. First, before I say mine, what's your waste of money supplements?
Well, I mean, it could be the normal ones that you're supposed to take during the day. Like we talked about proprietary blends and tons of fillers. Like protein's a great supplement to take, but there are so many protein powders out there that are just tons of fillers. Like one thing I hate more than anything is people say, I want to bulk up, and they buy like a bulking protein.
That's a mass gainer.
Mass gainer.
I have that on my list.
Mass gainer is the largest waste of money I have ever. That's probably my number one. I hate when I was in the Marine Corps and I had skinny friends that want to bulk up, and I see them. They buy a huge bag of mass gainer. I'm just like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Buy oats, buy milk, buy bananas, buy peanut butter.
Yep.
And there's your mass gainer. And eat some eggs on the side of that. And that's a mass gainer right there. You can easily power in 2,000 calories like that. Easily.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's healthy. That's all whole foods.
Yeah. And not just some crap that you can throw in your body. You don't know what it is.
A bunch of glucose.
Yeah. Just tons of glucose. Yeah. So probably mass gainer is probably the number absolute one that I hate more than anything. Now there's some fat burners out there that are just horrible. All they do is just make you just pee. They're just diuretics. That's all they are, which I'm very against those. I mean, if you're gonna get a thermogenic, the point of a thermogenic is just slightly raise your body temperature and it helps sweat. And
green tea is a great thermogenic. Yeah. I recommend that to a lot of people. Yeah.
So the fat burners, mass gainers, horrible. You should probably stay away from them if they're not tried and tested. I mean, if you're going to the bathroom every 2 hours on a thermogenic, you need to find a new thermogenic.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So is that what you say is all your wasted money supplements?
Oh, I mean, there's a lot more out there. Pretty much every supplement that could be good for you could also be a wasted supplement. It depends on the brand. It depends on the ingredients inside of it. You talked about CLAs earlier.
I have that list.
CLAs aren't going to make you just drop body fat for no reason.
I say that because like if you grew up in the 90s and whatnot and you're lifting in the early 2000s, CLAs went through this very popular phase where, if you wanted to be lean, you had to take CLAs. Yeah. And they were so expensive. I can't believe them. I look back at the money I wasted on these things.
$40 a bottle.
Yes, every month. Yep. That's a lot of money in a year.
Yep. Especially for a high school kid at the time. For me, I was driving to GNC and like, I have to get CLA, I have to get amino, I have to get all this stuff, and then
it's wild.
It's a waste. It is a waste.
Okay, so my list I have here, it's pretty small, but first one's beta alanine. We already talked about that. Yeah, really only useful for endurance athletes or doing, really, really high reps. I mean, I just don't recommend it for much. Protein powder I have on here just because it's really only useful if you can't get your protein in for the day. If you're hitting your 1 gram per pound to 2 grams per pound in that range somewhere, whatever your goal is or whatever you like, you don't need it. It's an extra thing. It's just not needed. It's a waste of money. Mass gainers, obviously, it's bad. And BCAAs, unless you're training fasted, I think, or if you're trying, that's a new one. Supplementing a fruit juice that could be very beneficial if you're struggling with. If you really like pop or fruit juice, try that.
Yeah, I haven't drank pop since 2010.
I haven't drank it since 2000. I was in middle school, 2005.
Even longer than me. That's great. You're the first person I heard or listened to that. I did not drink pop that long.
I never drink pop. No, don't want it. I drink milk, beer, and whiskey, and water.
The essentials.
The essentials. I have arginine on here. It's marketed because it's marketed as a pump product, but the amount of arginine that you actually need to be beneficial is 30 grams. Mm-hmm. And if you did that, you'd have terrible diarrhea. You'd feel terrible. You wouldn't even want to train. So arginine, pointless. Use citrulline malate. It's way better. And then fat burners, CLA, calorie deficit is the way to lose fat. That's what it all comes down to. If you're trying to lose fat, don't count on a fat burner.
Calories in versus calories out.
Yep, very simple. And the last thing I hear is test boosters.
I forgot about test boosters.
There's so many products. Even if you go to Walmart, there's test boosters at Walmart.
Yep, naturally test booster. I think.
And it's just such a waste of money.
It is.
If you want to raise testosterone, eat 12 eggs a day, take at least 5,000 IU of vitamin D3, and you're going to be on a natural steroid right there. Yep. Yeah, that will take you to a new level completely.
And even fasting can help raise testosterone and HGH.
Yeah, human growth hormone. Yes, yep. There's some studies behind that. Yep. So right now we like to do a halfway thing in here, special event here. Chris, are you smarter than a 5th grader?
Probably not. All right, let's do that. I'm about to look real dumb.
What is the process of changing a liquid into a gas called?
Liquid to a gas, evaporation.
Yes. Which ocean is located to the east of the United States?
Okay, so I was in the Pacific when I was in the Marine Corps, so it's this one over here, which is the Atlantic.
Yes. Oh, wow, that's good. I got that one wrong when I was writing this out. What is the largest organ in the human body?
Skin.
Yes. A lot of people miss that. In the famous fable, who cried wolf when there was no real danger?
Oh. Boy Who Cried Wolf. I can't remember his
name. The name
name.
is hard to remember. I got this one wrong.
I know it's the boy. I don't know his name.
The Shepherd Boy.
The Shepherd Boy,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah. What is the primary function of the lungs in the human body?
To, let's say breathe.
Yes.
I thought that was a trick question.
Facilitate the exchange of oxygen, carbon dioxide. How many sides does a hexagon have?
X8. 6. Okay.
Yeah.
Octagon's 8. Why did I say that?
Yep. What is the square root of 64?
God. 1228.
Wait, what? No, 8.
Oh, I thought it was 64 times 60.
No, it's square root is 8 times 8.
Yeah. Oh.
Which planet is known as the red planet?
Oh, that's Saturn. Or Jupiter? No, Saturn? It's Saturn.
No,
No?
Mars.
Mars.
Mars, yep.
I am not smart enough.
What is the main component of the Earth's atmosphere?
No, it's not oxygen. It's probably carbon.
No.
No, CO2?
No.
What is it?
Nitrogen.
Nitrogen.
Yep. And who wrote the famous play Hamlet?
Shakespeare.
Yes.
Hey.
Wow, nice. Is that a guess?
Yeah.
So let's see. Let's see what you got here. You got the evaporation. Okay, wait. Evaporation you got right. Atlantic you got right. Skin you got right. Shepherd Boy you missed that one. Sides of a hexagon you missed that. Square root of 6 you really missed that one. Missed the planet one. Missing Earth's planet one. That's a 50%. So 50%.
Hey.
That's not passing.
I'm smarter than half of 5th graders.
I had Dave on the podcast, and he also missed that. Dave Seidel, he got 50% as well. So you're not alone.
All right. Hey, I started off good, all right?
Yeah, you did. So the next part of this podcast, we're going to go into debunking the myths around certain supplements. There's myths and common myths in question and that a lot of people have probably. First myth I have here is supplements can replace a balanced diet.
No.
Yeah, it's supplements are just that. They're supplement. That's why they say supplement. You can't replace a balanced diet with that. You can't just go eat McDonald's because I don't know if you were, did this, but back in our days of lifting early, we went to McDonald's and ate all that stuff, and then we took over our multivitamin. Yes,
the CT Fletcher diet.
we took our multivitamin though and our green supplement, and we thought, yeah, we're doing great.
Yeah, carbs are carbs. Just eat them.
Yeah, but no, supplements are a supplement. More protein intake equals more muscle gains.
No,
that's a myth. You can't just eat 500 grams of protein and you'll build more muscle. It just doesn't work like that.
Nope.
You're gonna be on the toilet for one a lot. Just a better way to go about it is just like what we talked about: 1 gram to 2 grams per pound body weight, in that range. Creatine is only for bodybuilders. It's not safe for other athletes, Chris.
Yes, that's only for bodybuilders. That's it.
I recommend creatine to everybody. I'd recommend it to my 80-year... I don't have a grandmother anymore, but if my grandmother was still alive, I'd recommend it to her. I mean, everybody could benefit from creatine. There's over 365 studies showing creatine.
Yeah, it's the most studied supplement.
That and caffeine. They're about equal, actually. Mm-hmm. So they're both very beneficial and useful to have. Creatine also helps with Alzheimer's. I didn't know that, but I learned that recently. Wow. It can actually keep Alzheimer's away, and if you have Alzheimer's, actually help with it too. Wow. Fascinating thing I just learned recently. Let's see. Pre-workout supplements are harmful and addictive.
Well, addictive could be an aspect,
right? Because of caffeine. Caffeine
can be addictive.
Yes, very much so. So I would say that's not necessarily a myth. Depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, because I'll be honest. I think I have a small addiction to caffeine. Not like I have to have it, but it's like if I don't have it, I'll get headaches. I'll get caffeine headaches and stuff like that.
I mean, I need my coffee in the morning. I need that cup of coffee. Supplements can burn fat without exercise or diets. Why do we lift? I mean, we don't need to lift.
You don't need to lift at all.
Just take supplements.
No, it's not 80% diet.
No, supplements they are just a supplement. That's they're you can't take something magic. You can't read a label and say, "Oh, this says I'm going to lose 20 pounds of fat. I'm just going to take this and I'm going to be good to go."
Well, there are prescriptions out there that are pretty much meth. That do make you lose weight. These are real things, but they're very horrible on your body. They are very destructive on your body.
They make you not eat. That's what it comes down
much.
to.
It's like speed, just like you're taking speed pretty much.
And when you're in a calorie deficit, you don't eat, you're going to lose weight, but obviously not healthy.
Yeah, nope, not healthy at all.
All natural supplements are safe and side effect free.
I think we were just talking about D3.
Right, I know, exactly. I mean, what's your opinion on that?
Oh, it's they can definitely be harmful. Like just like caffeine in general can be harmful. You take too much caffeine. There was like, not obviously it wasn't a person who worked out, but there was back when Monster first got popular in like the early 2010s.
Yeah,
the dude who drank like 12 cans and had a heart attack and died, and his heart was like pulping out of his chest.
And it's a dosage thing. I'm not against energy drinks or anything like that. It's if you drink 10 a day, then maybe that's a problem. Yeah, 1 or 2 a day, probably going to be fine. It's a dosage thing. You need multiple supplements to achieve fitness goals.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to have this to do. You got to have your CLA to keep lean. You got to have your protein to build muscle. You got to have your fat burner to stay lean. No,
it's just like I always like to say, it's 80% diet, 20% gym. I think that where you build your muscle and everything is in the kitchen, eating the correct foods, eating the whole foods, eating the right nutrients, and that's what matters.
I could lift 2 days a week and still be just as muscular as I am now, just because my diet's on tap.
Yep. And I think that's not hit on enough as people's diets. I think as Americans, I mean, I had fast food maybe once in the past 2 months, and it's mind blowing to just drive past these fast food restaurants and just see lines out there, and just, I wonder how much their diet consists of just processed fast food.
Me and Dave talked about this. We were talking about just on a typical Wednesday night at, say, you could go at 11 o'clock at night. There'd be the same line there as, say, 8 a.m. in the morning.
Yep.
It's crazy. Like, it's 11 o'clock at night. Let's go to McDonald's. Yeah. It reminds me of that SpongeBob meme where Patrick wakes up. There's an alarm that goes off, and Patrick wakes up, pulls out a Krabby Patty and eats it. He sees it's 12 o'clock, Krabby Patty time, and then goes back to bed.
It's mind blowing. And another thing too is like kind of getting out of just like the fitness for a second, just going into the diet aspect. Think about our children and how much of some kids' diet is mainly fast food, processed food. They're not eating whole ingredients.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're going to see a generation of cancer, generation of diseases that we've never seen before.
We're already seeing a lot of it.
I think 41% of the population is obese and 71% is overweight. And that's absolutely mind blowing. Then you look at these other countries and they're nowhere near the same at all. Yeah. I think America is literally killing itself with these fast food chains.
Yeah, and it's funny you said it, because I always bring up Japan, for instance. You know, look at Japan culture. You know, they don't lift crazy weights over there, but they're some of the healthiest people. They eat some of the highest sodium foods over there. They're some of the healthiest people because they walk all over.
Yep, I lived in Japan for almost 8 months.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go there. I've always wanted to go to Japan. I'm an anime fan, so
yep, you would love it. I lived in Okinawa and I spent some time in Tokyo. And yeah, I mean, that's right. They walk everywhere they go pretty much. Like they wouldn't just get in the car to drive 5 minutes down the road. They would like an older couple would just walk there together. And not just that, their cars there are absolutely tiny.
Oh yeah,
their cars there are like 8 foot, 10 foot long and like 4.5 feet wide.
And people are small too.
Yeah. And there's not a lot of overweight people there at all. And their food is, the ingredients are amazing. It's high quality food. Like I said, it's very high sodium, a lot of tempura and fried foods and stuff like that. It doesn't matter. The noodles they make from scratch pretty much everywhere. I think when I was in Tokyo, I seen maybe like 1 or 2 fast food restaurants and like on a street like that was pretty decently long.
I believe it.
It was just mainly just like these restaurants where you could catch your own fish, and then they would make your sushi right there in front of you and everything.
That's awesome. I've always wanted to go to or somewhere in Japan. I just always thought it'd be a cool place to visit because, like you said, they walk everywhere. They probably offset all the fried things they eat or something too because they're walking.
Yeah.
So it's. I mean, how often do you see people around this area in America, constantly walking to places?
Never.
Even in the big cities where everything's next door, you see more traffic on the roads than you do see people walking.
Yeah.
It's kind of just insane to think about. I mean, if I lived in a big city, I'd be walking everywhere. There'd be no need for my cars.
It's just a convenience. I mean, I hate to say it, Americans are lazy.
Yes.
We are so lazy.
Yeah, we are.
We would rather go through, sit in a drive-through for 2 minutes and get a fried burger or fries and crap handed to us, and then go to the store, buy healthy ingredients, and spend a half hour cooking food instead of a half hour watching TV.
Yeah, most Americans, yes. Yep, it's sad.
It's very sad. I think we're going to see a huge culture shift, and I think that's where having a good mindset and bringing a good fitness community together is going to be very important in the next coming years, because we're seeing obesity in our kids that we've never seen before. You look back at a picture from the 1970s of a beach, you will not see one overweight person.
No.
Not at all. And now you look at today, and it's horrible.
Even I saw a diagram showing posture of people. They had posture of people from 1980s, posture of people now. And people are developing, like their spine is like developing a bump on their back because they're so bent over all the time, hunched down, working at desk. The human bodies are evolving into something completely just
Oh, I'm sure
nasty.
I have horrible posture. I know I have horrible posture. I mean, I sat at a desk all day long, and then not just on top of that, we're on our phones. Yes. And we're looking down.
Yep. Yeah. I talked about Dave with this on Dave's podcast too, but I always try to keep a decent posture when I'm working. I just try to keep my mind on that a little bit because it's important, I think, to have good posture.
Yeah, it is.
Supplements are strictly for adults. They are harmful to teenagers.
I remember, I think I was in 8th grade wrestling, and the coach came in and said, anybody found taking creatine will be removed from the wrestling team. And I remember being so scared of creatine at the time, thinking it was like the worst thing ever. Like, you're going to have liver damage, you're going to have kidney damage, like all this stuff. Like, you're going to pass out. And like, that was where the fear started. And looking back now, it's like, where did you get that information from?
And I was the same way. So in school, creatine was looked at as, if you took creatine, that was like a steroid back then. I thought of people because I knew people that were taking creatine. I was like, oh, they're on steroids. Like, I was thinking creatine was a steroid. It's absolutely insane. And now I don't not recommend it to anybody. I recommend it to every single person out there because of all the studies. It blows my mind that I used to think, oh, they're taking steroids. It was creeped on. Like, I knew football players in high school that took it, and I was thinking, oh, you don't want to take creatine. It's it's a horrible mindset, and I don't know what study was pushed out or what was started. I don't think it was a study. I think it just was put out there as it's bad for people's kidneys. Somebody said it, and then it gravitated, and the rumor continued to roll. And people got the wrong misinformation. Yeah, because the only people it's bad for kidneys if you have kidney disease. Then it's bad. It can be a problem then. Yeah. But if you have healthy kidneys,
your body naturally produces creatine.
Yeah, it does, just a very small amount. But taking more than the recommended dosage of a supplement yields better results. Let's just take all the protein, Chris.
All of the protein. If you take all of the protein, you will get stronger.
Take all the citrulline malate in the thing. You'll just have the biggest pump. You'll look like you're on steroids.
No. But there are, like you talked about before, there are plenty of products that are just naturally underdosed that you need to, that you like would be beneficial to take more of that dose. Like how I take 20,000 IUs of D3. Like I think it just works for me.
I think it would kill me. I felt like that. I mean, I remember I was working at an office job in Bryan at the time. And I could not focus. Like because I was doing this experiment on myself. I was documenting it all how I felt because I wanted to see what I could push my limit to because I read about the benefits and I wanted to see it's a fat soluble vitamin. So I knew it would build up to this tolerance eventually. I didn't think so soon though. I thought when I'd get to 12,000 to 15,000, I'd start feeling like that. But it hit me around 9 as when I started to feel, I was sitting at my desk and I was like, I can't focus. And I actually took off that rest of that day because I couldn't even focus, but it was bad. But yeah, it's interesting about the dosage you can take there on that.
And I started off at 20,000.
You jumped right to it?
Right to it. I bought the bottle off Amazon. I was like, 5 pills is 20,000. Down the hatch.
Oh my gosh.
And I never had a side effect from it. I didn't even think of a side effect, honestly. I didn't even think it would be a thing for me. I thought, it's a vitamin to help increase testosterone. I didn't really do a lot of research right off the bat on it until a little later on.
I did a ton of research before I tried it, and then I decided to do this experiment on myself because of the research I was reading to see how it would benefit me. Yeah. But it was fascinating what I found, though. But I know the limits now, though, too, because of that. So it's kind of interesting. I wouldn't recommend somebody be their own guinea pig. I've done a lot of stupid stuff in my life, and this is just one of those things. And the last myth I hear here is supplements are regulated and tested like prescription medications.
Even prescription medications aren't regulated.
I know. It's not.
So here's a thing, going back to the military a little bit, is these supplement companies, some of them also manufacture like steroids and powders and SARMs and powders and stuff like that. And these bats that they're making them in aren't always cleaned out correctly. So supplements are not regulated. There could be a batch of anything being made, and then that same company could throw in a new batch, and it could still have residue left over from the old batch.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yep. This is when I started getting into creating supplement companies, something I had to look into, and it's some companies do not care. They do not care about cleaning their bats out and cleaning stuff out before they throw new product in there. So yeah, supplement company it's not regulated. Just because your creatine says 5 grams doesn't mean it's 5 grams of creatine per scoop. You don't. I mean, in reality, we don't know what you're putting in your body unless you make it yourself.
Like I do. I buy everything in bulk and I make it myself because I don't trust companies. It's just, for me, I've had experiences where I feel like as long as I dose it out, I know when I measure that scoop, I'm like, I know I'm getting this stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Would you say there's any risk or considerations with supplements that we should bring up right now?
No, I would say, just going to the caffeine one. If you're younger, you don't need to be throwing a bunch of caffeine in your body to work out. I wouldn't recommend that. I mean, you get the energy, you're young. I wouldn't try to use that as like a crutch. I would say, obviously, caffeine is very beneficial. But if you're 14, 15, 16 years old, like me, when I was throwing 200 to 400 milligrams of caffeine in my body, you didn't need that. No. You did not need that at all. So as far as supplements, as far as anything, warning labels on anything, I'm nothing that I can really think of off the top of my mind other than, just be responsible with what you take.
Yeah, that's good. And I want to bring up too, like a lot of people think like they have to feel, how do I want to word this? When they go to the gym, they want to feel like they can crush a house.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people want to feel like. Mm-hmm. The truth is you don't need to feel like that to have a good workout. You don't. And it's a common misconception. They want to be all hyped up and they want their skin itchy, and a lot of times you have a worse workout when you're like that because you can't think, you can't be stoic. It's a common thing like that.
Yep. I would say what I always like to say is there's motivation and there's discipline. Motivation comes and go, discipline stays. Yes. When you go to the gym, you need to be disciplined with yourself. You need to say, all right, I'm going to do 3 sets of 12 at a lat pull down, and I'm going to get this done. I'm going to put myself on a time limit, make sure I'm getting my sets and everything done. And after that, I'm going to move over to this machine. I'm going to do this workout. Mm-hmm. Like we go to the gym, and there's all the times, like me and you do all the time. We'll talk for a second, and all of a sudden we'll lock in. Yeah, and we'll go to our machine.
I call it that switch. When that switch flips, you're back to work.
You're back to work, and I always do a thing where I do my breathing down right before any left. I'll like.
Yep, me too.
Get my breathing down, and I'll focus, and then I'm just locked in on that weight, and I'm hitting it, and I'm just focusing on the mind muscle connection, and the time under tension, and back to the mind muscle connection. I think that's one of the most important things that you need to do when you work out is focus on the contraction, focus on the lift itself, not just focus on the movement. People just want to put 100 pounds on a lat pull down and just pull it down and think I'm getting a workout in, and it's, no.
Or do the pull downs
pull it down to their nipples.
Yes, I still see that. Why do people think that's a good way to do pull downs? Where did that originate from?
I don't know. I think another thing too is people are prideful. Like I'm not embarrassed at all to go up to somebody and say, hey, like I think you should be doing it this way, because I would want somebody to do it to me too.
Yeah, if I'm the same. Yeah.
But I think that some people see another guy go up to them and correct them on their form, and they think, I'm not listening to you.
Yeah.
And they want to be prideful. I think you just need to lose the ego when you're going to the gym, leave it at the door, and you go in the gym and you work out. And just because somebody's smaller than you does not mean that they don't know more knowledge than you. Yeah. Just because you're bigger than somebody does not mean that you know more than them, or you know how to work out better than them.
Yeah. It comes down to experience and how long you've been doing this stuff.
Yep.
I mean, me and Josh, we've talked to a lot of people, try to correct people in the gym sometimes when we see, and a lot of times they ignore us. They're like, nah, we're going to do it our way. I see that all the time.
Yep. And then there's also some kids I've seen in the gym, like I've seen in our gym, where I've helped them do a certain movement a certain way, and I like put my hands on their muscle, say
muscle
right
activation.
Here. Yep. And I say right here is supposed to feel it at, and they'll go, oh wow, I never thought about that. I was just doing it, and I said, nope, you need to focus on where that muscle is that you're hitting.
Yep, chest and lats are a very common one to do that with, because a lot of people when they're first learning to lift are pressing with their arms.
Yep.
You can see it. If you're getting a huge arm pump doing presses, you're doing presses wrong. Same with back. If you're getting a huge arm pump when you're doing back, you're not training back.
Your biceps should not be on fire doing lat pull downs.
Exactly. And a lot of people, they are. They get done, they're all pumped up. They're like, no, that's not how you do it. Your back should be pumped. Your chest should be pumped. But if your arms are getting pumped, the problem is a lot of people don't know how to engage their chest.
Yeah,
that's a hard one. Chest is probably one of the hardest things people can learn to engage, just because such a mind muscle one.
And a piece of advice I would give to anybody who wants to get that mind muscle connection with bench and chest is I would recommend doing a lighter weight incline press, dumbbell press. I think an incline dumbbell, well, first off, incline dumbbell press is shown to have the most activation when it comes to chest, pretty much in general, and shown the most growth. I think that's a great one to start off. I don't think I've seen a lot of major gains in my chest. I've seen me break my plateaus until I started doing incline dumbbell press.
Or barbell too. We rotate between barbells and dumbbells. And,
incline press on the chest, anything is great. I actually like to go back to the machine and use incline press on the machine, because I feel like with a machine, I don't have to worry about my form, because the machine is going to do my form for me. I can worry about the contraction itself
as a secondary movement. Let's be
as a secondary movement. Yes,
me and Chris are big into doing power,
compound movements in the beginning,
power and compound in the beginning, and we accessorize offwards. And I just want to make sure people knew that we weren't bouncing from machine to machine.
That's one thing too. I'd recommend anybody is start your workout with I would recommend a heavy compound movement. That's how I always start my workouts, whether it's a lat pull down, a bench, or if you're doing legs, a squat, and then move on to even like different compound lift that's even a lot heavier, or different, like a leg press machine and stuff like that. I like to recommend, or if you're doing like different back movements, you can do a row. A row is a great movement to do after a lat pull down, I think.
Yeah. Yep. I alwas recommend, power bodybuilding is what it's called. Start with power and then go into hypertrophy for bodybuilding. That way you cover all your bases. You're not just, bouncing around. Because let's be real, you can build a great physique with just machines. The fact is, though, there's a density that comes with lifting heavy, that just dense look, that the mature muscle look that you can't get from machines. You just can't. And you can look in the gym and be like, that person does only machines. That person actually lifts some heavy weight. Yeah. Like for me, I have a lot of density. Like I'm a small dude, but I've dense. I'm dense, and that comes from lifting heavy, and experience doing that too. It's
Another thing too is what people never do is they go in the gym and they have a mindset of, I'm doing 3 sets of 12 on this. I'm gonna do 4 sets of 8 on this. You need to go to failure. Not every workout, but I think that failure is a very huge thing in increasing.
Most people don't even know what failure means.
No, they don't.
Most people stop probably, I'd say 5 to 8 reps shy, because they think when it starts to hurt, they stop. That is when you need to push.
Nope. And even say you're doing a preacher bicep curl, okay, and you got 50 pounds on there, and you're doing your reps. Once you can't get it halfway, start doing half reps. Yes,
there's a recent study that was just published about showing the beneficial of half reps on a preacher curl. I published it on my Instagram, I think, because it was so fascinating to see.
The preacher or any half reps I won't say like a bench half rep, but you know what I mean. Like when it makes sense, do a half rep,
like a machine half rep. Yeah, machine half reps are amazing. I sometimes do that at the end of my set just to get the rest out of there.
Yeah, the incline bench press machine. I love doing. I'll go down from a full rep to 75 to 50 to a quarter rep, and I'm just focused on getting that blood, pushing that blood, and getting that movement in there.
Yeah, we're not saying do your whole workout.
No. I like to incorporate failure at the end of my workouts.
At the end of my sets, I do. I'll do, so for instance, for me, I would do 4 sets of 8, and then that last set, I would throw in a failure technique. I would either do a rest pause or partials, some type of failure technique, and I found that to work just fantastic.
Yeah, pause reps are also amazing that nobody wants to do.
Yeah,
nobody wants to do a pause rep. And another thing too, it's a fear thing too. Doing a pause rep with a lot of weight on your chest doing bench could be kind of scary. But, have a spotter that knows what he's doing, and you're fine.
I tell people, if it's hard, you're going to get good results. If it's easy, you're not. And that goes with anything in life, not just lifting, but that goes with business and everything. If it's easy, you're going to get nothing out of it. It's not worth doing.
No, not at all. I want to get your input on smelling salts. How do you feel about smelling salts?
Smelling salts.
Because I've used them very rarely. I think you've seen me use them twice, and I think that's the only time I've ever used them.
I've used them only a long time ago. I messed with them just to see how they worked. I don't have anything wrong with them, but I also knew people that I know people that I used to train with at the Y that would be obsessive compulsive with it. They would use it they're doing even an 80% lift. They would use it. There's something I think you should whip out, maybe if you're doing an all-out max, maybe once every 3 months or something. Occasionally, if you wanted to.
Yeah, because I feel like if you use smelling salts over and over again, you're getting less and less of effect. You're going to get a little used to them. So I've only ever used smelling salts when I've done a 1 rep max on bench. Mm-hmm. And for me, smelling salts, they not just open me up, but they get me on a head high, and they make me I don't know. I feel
it smells like cat piss, basically.
It puts me through the roof, and it gets me hyper focused. On what I'm doing, and I can just zone in on that one subject of just moving that bar.
Right. But you don't obsess. You don't constantly.
I've taken twice in the past year, maybe.
Exactly. We're not saying to take smelling salts. Like I said, I haven't taken them probably since 2011 or something. So I haven't. I just don't see a need to it. But it's personal preference. But
yeah. I just see people who overdo them and stuff, and you see like the new like gym culture of like kids taking them all the time. It's like, come on. But let them learn. Let them learn.
This setup to incline dumbbell press with like 50s and. It's like, come on, man. You come on. All right. Well, that's going to probably wrap up today. Chris, thank you for coming out today.
Hey, no problem.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I will put all your links down below, your Vet Labs supplements. I've looked at his dosages. It is approved by me. The citrulline malate, I would like to see that higher in there. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm always going to be honest with people.
It costs more.
I know. Trust me. I want to make a supplement too, and the brand I want to create costs way too much at the moment. So I get that, but I wanted to just be honest with you there on that, though, because citrulline malate is such a powerful one. So
yeah, and last thing I like to say is if you have any friends that need to get up and get moving, I think it's a duty as a friend to say, hey, like, come to the gym with me. Invite somebody to the gym with you, whether it doesn't have to be lifting weights. Invite them on a walk. I don't think just fitness has to be lifting weights. I think you can run, you can walk, you can hike, you can do anything you want. But I think a body in motion needs to stay in motion. I don't think sitting down and being sedentary is good for your lifestyle. I don't think it's beneficial at all. And then those people out there with kids, you need to set an example for your children. You shouldn't be sitting around doing nothing, spending your days watching TV, because your kids are going to see that, and that's when they're going to grow up to be and do the same thing. You need to set a good example and be a good leader for your kids.
And he's going to be, you are a father.
Yep. I'm a father of an almost 1-year-old coming up.
Wow. And when this is going to launch in first week, this episode's coming up the first week of October. So how long?
So he'll be, his birthday's in September, so he'll be just over a year old.
Just over a year old. Wow. That's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep. And it makes me want to be a better person. Makes me want to, take care of my body more. I've started researching more about, you should do an episode on seed oils.
Seed oils. I hate oils. I hate all oils. I don't use any oils.
yeah. So bad for you. But yeah, just motivate people around you to be better.
Yep. Yeah. And the dad bod.
Oh, the dad bod.
You don't want to have a dad bod? You're a dad?
No. I like I said, I don't have aspirations of getting like shredded, cut down body fat, because I like to lift heavy, you know. And if you want to lift heavy, you got to have some body fat on you to be moving that way. Yep. But I want to maintain a physique that I can always get out there and always outperform my kid, no matter his age.
You say that. He's going to be lifting more than you by the time he's 10 years old.
Hey, he gets over a 405 bench press, I'll be happy.
Watch him be an elite powerlifter.
Yeah, I'll be so proud.
That'd be awesome. Hopefully he gets a healthy back.
Yeah, definitely.
But thank you, Chris, for coming out today. I had a blast. I think the listeners are going to get something out of this. And if you have any questions ever for me or Chris, I know you answer questions on Facebook, and your links are all going to be below, and my links too. Supplements can be a crazy concept, and if you're not sure what to take, feel free to reach out.
Yep, my contact information is on their website. He'll drop that below. Reach out to me if you have any questions about anything.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Stay strong, and God bless.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chris.
Oh, that was great, man. That was great.